Hello, welcome back. Good evening. Good to have you here. Um, Slow day today. Trying to think, really, we're gonna take it slow today. Bit of a chill analysis. I'll probably go into a couple of charts, more projections on what we've got. Price hasn't really moved much since I last left you guys. I know everything looks like it's in the green. Yeah, technically it is, but it's nothing too major either. I did take some profits in some places, which we'll be discussing, and the reasons why I did that. But hey, we're continuing to go up slightly. We're rising a little bit. So that's good in general for the crypto market. My back is in pain. All right, so let's hop into it. Today's Monday, civic holiday for Canada. It's probably a good thing that Canadian markets were closed because, we kind of got a pump. We didn't get a lot of sell-offs. No, I'm not saying that Canadians are selling off on the markets. That's usually not the case. Anyways, main thing for Bitcoin, super trend indicates we are still in a downtrend. So we must be prepared. We must be cautious. What else we got? We got a good resistance for Bitcoin at 112,000. That's been working really good. Did I say resistance? A support for Bitcoin 112,000. Resistance is 115,000, which is where we still are currently. Yesterday we were practically around the exact same level, 114,800, I think I said. Where current price is 114,900. 0.07% up today. Nothing really changed for Bitcoin here. We're still trying to break out of this pivot resistance. Once we are able to do that, it'll take us to 118,000 where we have our downtrend. I'm not sure if a lot of analysts are saying this is going to be a bullish week. Main driving factor for that is because of the fact that the rate cuts are likely to happen again. So that reanimated the market and, we're kind of pricing that back in because this sell-off was mainly due to non-farm payroll data revisions, a bit of drama there, and also rate cut projections decreased. It only looked like we were getting one rate cut this year and it wasn't even going to happen in September. Now the opposite happened. It looks like we will be getting a rate cut that will happen in September. And immediately after that, in October, we'll be getting a second rate cut. We're not even going to wait until December to get that second rate cut. And even by December, it's like a 60-40% chance, I think last time we checked, that we would be getting the third rate cut. A 40% chance. So it wasn't that likely, but I mean, a 40% chance that we'll get a third rate cut after that seems pretty good. But those percentages are subject to change at any time. RSI is smack in the middle, 51 for Bitcoin. It's really anyone's game at this point. I would remain cautious. Yes, I do have some open long positions, as per shown over here. How much profit am I making? 10 plus 82 plus 59 plus 16. I'm making 167 if I just sell everything right now. I don't think I will. Or maybe I will. I don't know. They're really good entries. It'd be painful to sell. And they're not entered too much. That's probably one regret that I will admit I have. I didn't put too much money in them. I could have obviously put more. I do have the funds to do so. I could have been making a lot more. But it is what it is. That's just me being greedy, and ultimately that could lead to my demise, because if I'm too greedy and I'm entering these positions, what if the price just continued dropping? I'd be hanged there with a heavy position at a high price and me struggling to reinforce it by adding more margin or entering new positions that would barely drive my average price down. So that's the reason why I didn't really put too much in. It's still something, but I was playing it very cautious. I was wondering if this non-farm payroll data that we'd be getting, the rate cuts, the US dollar strengthening, if that was going to be a long-term play. Also, there's this fact that, historically speaking, August is a red month, negative month, which that didn't help my case, but I decide to ignore that stuff. You really don't know how the month is going to perform based off of historical data. You could try to get an idea based off of every other person's sentiment. Like they'll see that historically speaking, August is a negative month, and they'll all be like, oh yeah, August is going to be a bad month. So they're all going to have this mindset. There'll be, it's contagious, right? They'll fall for it, and ultimately, you know, it could lead to exactly that happening, August being a low month. But it's not always the case. There are other factors that could drive the price, things that can make it go much higher. I still think, of course, that we are in a bull market. I don't think it's over. I still think at least very, very minimum, super conservative, 135K for Bitcoin is what's deserved. We're at practically 115. So just another $15,000. I mean, Bitcoin can easily do that in a week. Not even. So, you know, you got to be in it already. But don't overexpose yourself because, I mean, you just got to zoom out a little bit. We practically are at a very, very high level, all-time high level. Really. Like, all-time high was 123,000 or 115,000. It's not a big difference, 6%. So we could head back up there, maybe 7%. So, you know, just got to be careful. Don't be too greedy with the markets. Okay. With that stuff out of the way, what else do I do? What did I say my amount was? I'm going to see if these amounts change. Man, I don't know. I could regret selling these. I won't sell, and if they go against me, I'll just buy more. That is my plan. These are going to be here for a while. If things explode much higher, sure, I'll consider selling. Although it won't be too much profit, but the profit is there nonetheless. And the positions that I entered were fascinating. So we'll see how that plays out. Moving on to Ethereum, explosive growth today, 4.42% up. We are currently at 3,700 flat. We reached a high of 3,735 with 75 cents. Approaching this downtrend over here. Slowing down a little bit is a bit concerning. That means that we could, I don't know, maybe see some shakiness before heading back down again to try to grab some liquidity from our pivot support. That could be the case. Of course, if the drops do continue, that would lead us to here. Otherwise, you know, we're going to need some good fundamentals to break us out and head to this resistance level at 3,825. And then ultimately, I'm sure this is like our all-time high downtrend. What was that? Our all-time high downtrend from here, from also this resistance that we have. I'm pretty sure we might have one more. No, that might be the all-time high downtrend. I'm talking like since 2021. Yeah, indeed, that is that level. 2021 high November. Second point, December 2024. We just bounced off that level here once again, right? And this is a temporary downtrend, so that's where the super trend is pointing towards, right? We break out of that, we're testing that 4,000 mark. It all just coincides. Ethereum breaking out of 4,000 is going to be super important to do. Once it does that, sky's the limit. So don't sleep on Ethereum. Your entry was supposed to be down here when it was oversold, of course. You pay attention to relative strength index to determine your entries, right? That would have indicated your position to enter would be around here or here if you're able to DCA. Just a quick tip for you. So yeah, that's what we got for Ethereum. Just got to wait and see, I guess, how it performs the rest of this week. We don't really got crazy fundamentals, as I've mentioned before. I'm removing Canada because we don't care. American data is what matters. It's nothing too crazy, really. Nothing. Next week, we're getting inflation data, CPI, core inflation rate, and PPI will happen Thursday. So Tuesday, Thursday next week will be important. Yeah. Tuesday, Thursday next week. Could see some good volatility. All right. Moving on. Solana. It's up 3.32%. 21 shares files for spot ETF. Yeah, I think we kind of knew that. Am I buying Bitcoin? I already did. I have a Bitcoin position right here, Bradley. Got it at 113,632. It's probably not the best entry, because I mean I could have bought down here 112k. Like, I didn't follow my own advice. I knew we were going to drop to 112k, and I still bought at 113. I was wondering if this was like the bottom, right? That's why it shows I bought over here. But if I just waited a bit longer or just put a trigger order here, yeah, sure, would have been a little better. Didn't put too much in it anyway. And Bitcoin's not as volatile, right? Compared to the rest of the altcoins. This is when it gets to that exhaustion point, where the alt season will take place, where people will want this kind of volatility, and they will like start going into altcoins to start seeing better returns on their investments. But Bitcoin's still, you know, the strongest, the one that really matters, especially long term. So I guess that's all you should really focus on. For Solana here, like things like Solana, compare these two. I bought Bitcoin and Solana roughly around the same time. Solana's making me more money at $57. Bitcoin was giving me $10. Same amount of money put in. Arguably, Solana had a bit less money put in because it only let me buy 5, which is not 300 times 3, 900. It was, even excluding this 57, like less than $800, right? And it's still making me more. So there you go. Well, we are slowing down at this pivot resistance, broken out of this temporary small downtrend. What else we got here? These are for support levels, so that's where I decided to put my trigger order. Okay. I have no idea why that does that. If the downtrend is done, if this was the bottom, we now have to determine where resistances would be. You could draw a Fibonacci level like this to help determine where resistances are going to be. And it's looking like, of course, the 175 is the most important level. It would coincide with the super trend, the downtrend, of course. Those two would coincide perfectly, and also this fib retracement. So that can help us determine whether or not we will continue moving upwards, and it's looking at 181 from there. Longer term, this no longer valid. If that is the bottom, this is what's going to be valid. So there's my little adjustments for Solana. We're stuck at 169, 170, so we'll see how that continues to perform. XRP, look at this clean movement upward, breaking out of $3. This temporary downtrend was easily broken. I think we now just have this resistance right over here at 324. So that's likely where we're headed to next at the moment. There's no signs of it like really slowing down, and we still got room to run in the momentum chart that I have over here before we start becoming considered overbought again, which that would likely be us doing something like this, reaching this resistance level. Then we could see a bit of a correction before taking off further if the momentum still continues upward. My AC is on. I should probably close my window. I don't want to do that now, though. It's fine. I'm too rich enough to care. Moving on, SUI is 357, up 2.22%. Insider trading rumors fuel $5 target. What? Okay, I'm going to have to look into that later. I had a trigger order down over here, unfortunately did not get hit. Would have been nice because, I mean, SUI has 9% recovery so far from its low point. Would have been nice to get some exposition to that. Same with Solana in terms of analysis is I've got to readjust this. I don't want to close my window, Bradley, because then you'll just be there. You're always at my window. I'll close it. I'll be back. Okay. All right. What else we got? 362 resistance, of course, for SUI. Pivot is at 371 right after that, about 2.78% difference. Downtrend is telling me it invalidates at 382. These levels, they're kind of all over the place. Yeah, I knew you were already here. All right, nice. Moving on to Litecoin. Litecoin seems to be the best moving coin out of all of them. 9% movement up today alone. Bullish momentum gains steam, reaching a high of 120. I took profits on my Litecoin positions today that I had on my main account. Made about 1,200 after the fees, which was really good. Deserved because I was paying hundreds of dollars in fees and that was just absurd. But it is what it is. I've held on to it for so long. One could argue I could have taken profits over here, which is practically where we are right now. I mean, we hit this level already, so I'm like, you know what? It's fine. We completely ripped past the 116 resistance, and this downtrend is the all-time high downtrend, by the way, which with these two, you know, poke out attempts, it's just getting weaker and weaker, and, you know, an early precursor to what we're seeing from Ethereum, right? Ethereum is not fully there yet. It's about to test that all-time high downtrend, but Litecoin has practically poked through it, like I said, and it's looking really good for it. Confirmed uptrend in the weekly chart. That would be good if we do break 126. So keep your eyes peeled on Litecoin. And we're still heading higher, 121. Our highest point today was 121.44. So it's looking really good for Litecoin. Seems like this uptrend is the one that really matters for now. One could argue I could draw one a little bit closer. I'll leave it there for now. Super trend is now invalidating at 107. So that's good. Good stuff for Litecoin. Immediately just shooting right up. Took some profits there. It's all good. Cardano. It's same deal here, about to break out of this downtrend very soon. We would have to break above 77, right? Or at least 79. Let's give it 80. 80 cents for Cardano, confirmed uptrend. After that, we got resistances at 83 approximately. I have this 86 level drawn, probably from, yeah, this high over here. I don't think it's that relevant anymore, too far back in the history. So we do have two more downtrends, of course, to break out of, and then the $1 psychological level. Can we do that? Probably. I also had a limit order over here that did not get hit, unfortunately. But yeah, I adjusted the uptrends already over here, so we're very close to breaking this and continuing higher for Cardano as well. Up 2%, 75 cents. I entered Hyperliquid. I couldn't hold on much longer, so I decided, you know, we were going this choppy sideways movement. I decided, you know what? We have a fib level over here. I'll just put a trigger order there. If it hits, it hits. And it did. And it's heading a little bit up, which is good. Sure, I could have gotten it at a better price, arguably. 35 looked really good, but it's fine. 38. This is usually at 40 and high point at 50 almost, right? So once this reaches the 40s, you know, maybe I could take some profits, but I also just put a little bit of money in here as well. For that exact scenario, if we do drop lower, I'll be adding to this position. This was World War III lows, June 22nd, June 21st. We reached a low of $30 for Hyperliquid. It's at 38 right now. I'm like, this is no issue at all. I could just easily put some cash in there. This is before Hyperliquid really took off. Well, what was this point? April 7 reached a low of $9. Okay, I didn't account for this, honestly. But yeah. Could that happen again? That is explosive growth, though, from $9 back to 50. It's pretty good. Buy gold when? I'm not buying gold ever. Let me check. I haven't really looked at gold recently. Sideways movement, I'm assuming at the top. What is this? What is this? A failed trade. Pretty funny. Funny. Yeah. It's not too bad, right? The all-time high was 3,500. We're at 3,379. It's relatively stable. What am I going to do with gold? Like, doesn't go up, doesn't go down. In my opinion, just buy Bitcoin instead. I could hypothetically buy gold, but I don't want to. Gold is already like a huge asset. It's very stable. Like, if I was a millionaire, sure, I'd put my money in gold to avoid inflation, right? To outpace inflation. That's the only real reason why I would see somebody investing in gold, like actually. Or also, yeah, it's like, it is the hedge against inflation. But so is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will actually give you a decent rate of return on your investment. Hey, how about we do a race, okay? When do you turn 18? Buy gold, or even if you can now, like, you know, just work around in the system. Buy gold right now. I'll buy Bitcoin right now. Same amount as you. We'll come back in a couple months, whenever you want. And we'll see how well it does. Let me know if you're up for that. Or if you don't, if you want, I'll just buy like a little bit in both. And you'll buy me gold on my birthday. It's pretty long from now. It's in December. Yeah, you're totally 18. All right, anyway, no problem. What else do I got? I also have Chainlink. This is a perfect entry. Man, I'm just so good. I'm just so good with my entries, especially on Chainlink. I entered here one time. I entered $10 right over here one time as well. Like literally smack on that bottom. And decent returns. Chainlink has had really, really good recovery as well. Arguably better than Sui. 10% up. Okay. Oh, you want to compare in 10 years, you're doomed. Like, Bitcoin will be at gold's market cap in 10 years. A lot of analysts have predicted this as well. Bitcoin will be worth $1 million. Its market cap will be 20 trillion, which is where gold's market cap is currently. Right? Market cap of gold, 23 trillion. Right now, Bitcoin is at 2.2 trillion. If you multiply this by 10, you get the 22 trillion, almost 23 trillion for Bitcoin. And you do the same with the price. You multiply the price by 10. That's 1,148,000. Okay, all right. You seem really confident about it. We'll do it. We'll do it. 10 years. 10 years. Okay, sure. Just don't beg me for the profits I make when you compare the two and you figure out that I made a lot more than you. Just saying. I kind of wish I bought more Chainlink too. Anyways, Chainlink's technically in a downtrend. Very technically. Gold is not going to be the currency of the future. It is... That's the boomer currency. The currency of the future is going to be Bitcoin. And you're younger than me. You should know this. But oh well. You do you, I guess. Pretty difficult to draw a downtrend on here, Chainlink. What about an uptrend? Uptrend from June 22nd low to this low. All right, I guess this is what we've got going on for Chainlink. I mean, when market goes to trash, in what sense? What would cause markets to go to trash? A world war? We'd all be dead by then. Remember, was it you who told me, like, on Polymarket, like, just bet no on a bunch of stuff, I think? It was things like, oh, will Jesus come back this year? There's, like, bets on people saying yes or no. Why would you vote for yes? If Jesus came back this year, who cares about money? You're going with Jesus, you know? But if you vote no and Jesus doesn't come back this year, you made some money, and you could use that in your real life, right? Stuff like that is pretty funny. Or like, will a meteor crash in 2025? Yes or no? You can bet on that in Polymarket, and if a meteor crashes, why would you vote yes? You're gonna die. Or if a meteor doesn't crash, nothing happens, but you've made some money. So things like that. I saw a lot of people doing that easy infinite money glitch. Did you see that? I didn't even know I should talk about this. Never mind. There was an incident that happened at a WNBA where somebody threw an object at the basketball court, and there was another bet on Polymarket saying, will somebody do that again? And there's people like, yes or no, or what color will it be? Somebody said an infinite money glitch is you throw that object into the court while betting yes, and you make a huge rate of return. I don't know. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. The dough? What dough? Oh, man. It's funny, though. I'll tell you later if you want, like, more specifics on it. But yeah, that's what we got going on. How much money do I have now? I hate that this doesn't tell me, or maybe it does and I'm blind. My unrealized P&L, there it is, 169. It was just hidden, that's why. We'll see how much it becomes later on. Yeah. Oh, okay, I get it. The dough. Yeah, that is exactly it. You got it. That's good. I'm happy. I'm proud of you. So the people were saying, like, what color will the dough be? Will it be a green one, a blue one? So people were like, we'll just buy a green one and bet on yes, and then go to an actual game and throw it in. You make easy profit that way. That's pretty funny. All right. Speaking of profits, I guess, with the tariff stuff, Trump actually slapped Switzerland with a 39% tariff, just out of nowhere. And here's why it happened. They ran a $38.5 billion trade surplus with the US last year, which is more than Mexico. Trump's made it clear if you want free access to America's market, you don't get to take and never give. Switzerland now faces one of the highest tariff rates in the world, tied with Syria, Burma, and Laos. European Union got 15%, UK negotiated 10%, Switzerland has 39% tariff. Why? Because they didn't come to the table. They thought they were above all that. Especially all the talks held in Geneva, Switzerland, right? Pretty sure it was there. Or was it Sweden? I'm confused. Also, why are we not talking about Canada with a 35% rate? That's one of the higher ones, right? Trump didn't slam the door. He left it open. The tariffs were announced on August 1, but it didn't take effect until August 7. Okay, that's not a coincidence, and it's a negotiation tactic, and the Swiss got the message. Within hours, Switzerland's government called a special emergency session. They're offering to buy U.S. liquefied natural gas, invest more in American manufacturing, and even send top officials to Washington this week to cut a deal. About time. Fair's fair. The reason why Canada's 35% tariffs is because they're planning to recognize the state of Palestine, same as how France and the UK are planning to do in this September United Nations meeting. The only ones that don't want that is America and Israel, I'm pretty sure. Of course, to recognize a Palestinian state. Maybe some other countries as well. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure that was the excuse that Trump gave. But really, he played Canadians, honestly. Like, we wanted somebody to stand up to Trump, which, of course, conservatives would have thought Pierre Poilievre. Otherwise, everybody else in Canada thought, for some delusional reason, that electing liberals again would get the problem solved. Trump literally made Justin Trudeau cry his way out of office, right? Forced him to resign practically with all those insults. Governor Trudeau, 51st state, etc. And then they elect Mark Carney, and then that's practically what Trump wanted, right? He literally I forget exactly what he did, but he kind of indirectly interfered with the elections here and managed to get Mark Carney elected so that Trump can manipulate Canada easier. He feels like it would be easier to deal with the liberals who don't know anything compared to Pierre Poilievre, conservative, who actually knew how to, work around this stuff. He knew it was just going to play on the same way as it was before. So, you guys played right into his hand. There you go. That's why we're paying the price. Israel needed to leave the West world alone. Yeah, I agree. It's getting a little bit too much, honestly, with that whole situation in the Middle East. Like, we all should just stop caring at this point. The war is practically over. Just end it there, right? Move on with your lives and just stop killing each other. We got to focus on, what's it called? Russia-Ukraine, which it's supposedly this week that they're supposed to find some sort of resolution. It seems like the way Trump is trying to push this harder is by tariffing India instead. Anyways, just to finish with this topic here, Trump saying that tariffs are a tool, it's not a punishment. Swiss stock markets are tanking. And yeah, I didn't mean to slap my spacebar there. Now, talking about this India, Russia, Ukraine stuff, Trump now is raising the tariffs on India because they clearly don't care how many people in Ukraine are being killed by Russia, is what he said. India is not only buying massive amounts of Russian oil, they are then, for much of the oil purchased, selling it on the open market for big profits. They don't care how many people in Ukraine are being killed by the Russian war machine. Because of this, I will be substantially raising the tariff paid by India to the USA. Thank you for attention to the matter. Okay, so he didn't announce exactly how much he's going to increase it by yet, but we'll see. He's trying to hurt Russia economically by attacking their best client, their biggest buyer, somebody who is allied to Russia, but also somebody who has already made a trade deal with the United States. India is that perfect candidate. India is the biggest buyer of Russian oil. So he's trying to incentivize India to stop buying Russian oil by tariffing them. They said that despite these tariffs, they clearly don't care. They're just going to keep on buying Russian oil because they want to support their partner, and they're trying to, ignore Trump's little act of defiance, big act of defiance. I don't know what you want to call it. So now Trump is raising those tariffs because he's being like, this is serious. We got to end the war. He's done this twice now, by the way. First with the whole situation with the 50-day ceasefire deadline, right? He told Russia, you guys got 50 days to make a ceasefire with Ukraine. Russia's like, we don't care. 50 days is going to be so long, and by the time the 50 days are up, nothing's going to happen anyway, and Trump will just, chicken out like he always does, is what they were thinking, right? And of course, Trump sees that no efforts are being made to stop the war, so he's like, you know what? I'm decreasing your deadline from 50 days to 10 to 12 days, which is supposed to be sometime this week. And, well, still really nothing much happened. And there's these nuclear talks, that is, nuclear threats, not nuclear talks. Talks would be like for peace. Threats is for like something bad's going to happen, danger. So that was going to happen. Medvedev is making these random threats and, of course, acts of defiance against Trump, also hinting that the Epstein list and the Mossad and stuff like that. Well, Trump is like, okay, well, guess what? We've got 2 nuclear submarines surrounding you, so, have fun. And then they mentioned the dead hand and stuff like that. It's a big drama that's going on there. But now, of course, Trump is like, okay, what's the next alternative? How can I pressure Russia? Okay, who is the biggest buyer of Russian oil? India. We're going for India. India seems like they don't care, so that's why Trump is raising the tariffs. Moving on. Well, after also the big drama with the rate cuts and, let me go look at those right now, what the percentages are. CME Fed Watch. Get out of here. Next meeting is in 0 minutes. 94% chance that we're getting a rate cut. It's looking much better. 95% chance almost, compared to a 5% chance we keep the rates the same, which is good. Why isn't this working? This is supposed to say in like, whatever, 50, 40 days. September 17 is when we're getting the next FOMC meeting. We're also going to be getting projections on that meeting, sorry. So it'll help us determine, are we going to get a second rate cut or maybe even a third rate cut according to what the Fed projects. I guess we all still got to wait and see depending on how the economic data comes in. And look at this. For December, it's looking like a 50-50 that we could get a third rate cut. That's really good. So this kind of optimism sparks market interest once again. Risk appetite goes back up. People start buying crypto again and stocks. And this is what Trump is referring to in this specific post. He says it's a good day in the stock market. Dow Jones is up, S&P 500, NASDAQ. I thought Trump doesn't watch the stock market anyway. But there will be many more days like this. America is very rich again and stronger than ever before. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Obviously claiming that tariffs are a good thing, and the all-time highs, almost all-time highs that we have been seeing, we have seen some all-time highs, right? And good recovery days like these is proof of that the American economy is booming despite the revised negative jobs data that we have been getting from that Biden appointee, which we have some more information on that right over here. Trump was basically explaining the last week's job report was rigged, just like the numbers prior to the presidential election were rigged because of that Biden appointee, trying to make the Democrats look good and Republicans look bad, try to getting Kamala Harris elected instead of Trump, or now that Trump is in, trying to make it look like, trying to crash the stock markets on purpose, right, by confusing traders with the fact that, oh, economy is actually not that good, or it's, the tariffs are actually not a good thing for the economy as much as Trump likes to think. But obviously all of that was fake, practically confirmed at this point, at least according to Trump. That's why in both cases there was massive record-setting revisions in favor of the radical left Democrats. Those big adjustments were made to cover up and level out the fake political numbers that were concocted in order to make a great Republican success look less stellar. Trump says that he will pick an exceptional replacement. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So this is replacement number 1. We're going to get a new person that is probably more favorable to Republicans, or at least less favorable to Democrats, because we want it to be unbiased information, because, you're playing with people's money at this point. You got to report the jobs data as it is, with little revisions as possible, or if there is a revision, they don't got to be substantial like we have seen in the past couple months. So there's that first replacement, and second replacement as well. What was her name? Krugler, I think. Krugler. She was going to be resigning, I think, by August 8, I think. Sometime this week, later. So now Trump says that he'll be naming a new Fed governor and BLS chief this week as well, to replace, of course, the one that is resigning. This could be a good thing because, of course, we need more people in the Fed who would help vote on getting rates cut. That is also likely the reason why we're seeing this percentage rise of possibly more rate cuts, because Trump is really pressuring the Fed to cut interest rates because he's saying it's costing America billions of dollars and all that kind of stuff. So he really wants, there's a fly in my room, he really wants them to cut the rates. Powell is the ultimate decider, the Fed chair, right? Ultimately saying no, but there are votes that happen, and you can see it in the document sheets, how many votes were in favor of a rate cut, or maybe even 2, or how many were in favor of maintaining rates where they were, which is usually where the majority is, or even for rate hikes, right? There's this little chart with dots that I don't even know how to pull that up. Dot plot, is it this? It is this, yeah. So it's this stuff right here, right? The amount of votes as to where people are comfortable with leaving rates, right? How many people are voting to have rates cut? This is in the longer run. Yeah, I think you got the point. I had never looked at this before, but the chart is what you're supposed to pay attention to. So there's that, right? And if Trump is going to appoint somebody new, it's likely that that person will follow what Trump recommends or is really wanting for the American economy. Somebody more likely to vote for what Trump wants, right? Lowering interest rates turns on the money printer, gets more money flowing, quantitative easing, more money go into Bitcoin and go up. That's all you gotta know. Trump Media Technology, they reported $3.1 billion in assets, the first quarter of positive cash flow, and $2 billion Bitcoin treasury accumulation in Q2 of this year. They did announce the Bitcoin treasury, right? And also there's a lot of plans of getting ETFs rolled out through them, right? Truth Social. Oh, it's Truth Social. It's something different. Sorry. Trump has like so many different companies that it's just confusing. There's the Trump Media, there's Truth Social, and then there's the World Liberty Financial, and probably something else I'm forgetting. I don't know. Trump meme. That's not an ecosystem. The company also plans utility token launch within the Truth Digital Wallet ecosystem. I guess that's also something that's coming soon. Bottom line, Trump is bullish on Bitcoin, and that's important. Here's more proof of that. White House is preparing an executive order to target banks that discriminate against conservatives and crypto companies, addressing debanking practices with potential fines and penalties, per Washington Street Journal. Discriminated against conservatives, is that just like right-wing people, or, you know? Because we had this case happen in Canada that I shared before with RBC. Royal Bank of Canada actually closed down the bank account of a conservative, I'm assuming it's a talk show host or some lawyer. Oh, she was a lawyer at the trucker protest rally that happened in Ottawa a couple of years ago, right? From the COVID vaccine mandates and stuff like that. And they were closing out businesses, freezing bank accounts, stuff like that. It was this whole scandal in Canada. And some lawyer or advocate for that, she got her bank account closed because RBC's like, listen, you're a, what do they call it? They labeled it something like a risky person, or politically risky, something like that, right? Basically, they don't want to deal with that person, so we're deciding to close your account. You have X amount of days to remove your funds, and you can't do business with us anymore. That kind of deal. And it's like, wow, RBC against conservatives? That's not good. So this executive order, this is for the United States, separate. It's going to target banks that discriminate against conservatives and also against crypto companies, which would be obviously a good thing as well. So right-wing politics will be saved here, and also cryptocurrency companies, right? Good stuff. All right, here's some analysts that, you know, some looming FUD on the horizons. Robert Kiyosaki, he's not really saying that this is going to happen, but this is something that I mentioned earlier in the stream, that August is historically a red month for Bitcoin, right? A lot of people are calling for, oh, it's going to drop, it's going to crash to 90K, right, or whatever. Robert Kiyosaki says, hey, if it drops to 90K, I'm going to double down on my Bitcoin positions if this Bitcoin August curse is real. I don't think it's real. Honestly, price will just do whatever it does. Historical data does not mean the exact same thing is going to happen in the future. We're seeing that like literally happen live, right? We thought that we were going to have a double top earlier this year for Bitcoin. We thought this was the double top, right? 110K, 112K, and then we were going to crash again to maybe 80K for crypto winter. Same as we did in 2021. Why you're not loading more data? Let me go to a weekly chart then. What is my phone doing? It's got a text. Okay. Double top over here in 2021, right? And then we crashed over here to 16K or whatever. So that didn't happen, and we're still heading higher, and I think we will continue to head much higher. So yeah, that's what I'm saying, is historical data doesn't really matter. But this guy, Arthur Hayes, who is, I think, the MEXC founder or co-founder, he's also warning that Bitcoin and Ethereum could drop. He sees Bitcoin falling to 100K and Ethereum to 3,000 amid looming U.S. tariff risks. I don't I mean, I feel like it's all already been priced in, really. Like the tariff stuff, okay, sure, that's been priced in. Am I wrong in this? Are tariffs taking effect August 7, like it said on that post? When do USA tariff take effect? I thought it was August 1st. Yeah, it is August 1st. So, what's the risk, really? Other than countries retaliating? They're probably not going to be that significant. It's all uphill from here, right? We'll have trade talks with the affected countries and work out a deal, and there will be no more tariff for that country, one by one, until we eventually get them all. And hey, the deals seem really good so far, and practically one-sided. We saw with what was it, Thailand, or I think it was Vietnam, maybe Cambodia. No, Cambodia was in the war. It was something like that. Those countries actually, and also UK and European Union, one-sided deal for the US, really. Like, US is going to profit heavily from the deals that they just made. There's still trade talks going on with China. They agreed to pause it a little longer, so that's also going to happen. But really, like, I don't see anything negative coming forward. The only, like, spook is, will there be inflation because of the tariffs? So far, it's proved not to be the case, but, I mean, credit where it's due. As Powell has been saying, we don't really have the data because we've been delaying the tariffs, right? We don't know if tariffs are actually negatively impacting the United States economy. So we just got to wait and see for the data. But hey, August 1st, tariffs are live. We're 3-4 days in, so far so good, I guess. Let's talk a bit about Ethereum over here as well, now that we touched on it. I mean, even if they do drop Bitcoin to 100K, I'm absolutely buying that. Ethereum, 3K, yeah, come to my pocket. I will absolutely take advantage of those dips. So I'm not too concerned if these guys happen to be correct. I don't have a lot of positions that are, too crazy or too high up. Ideally, with these kinds of positions that I've entered here, if I put a lot more money in, I would have closed them by now, right? With small bounce upward, easy, take profit, move on from there. But, it's fine. FTX, Alameda, the company that scammed everybody, the exchange, they actually had a lot of Ethereum that was staked. $79 million in Ethereum, 20,000 Ethereums between December 17, 2024 and January 9, 2025. They withdrew 21,650 Ethereums from Bybit at an average price of 3,478. So they actually made how much Ethereum from staking? What is this number? 21650 minus 20736. 914 Ethereums just from staking. That's the power of staking. And obviously they're going to be using this to likely repay their customers. I'm pretty sure most of them have already been paid back, especially in stablecoins. And this happened during December, January. That's why part of the reason why we continued seeing huge rally during those months earlier this year, right? Before Trump got inaugurated and then added tariffs for the first time, which spooked everybody. So there you go. GameSquare is, one of those companies that has an Ethereum strategic reserve. They actually purchased 2,717 Ethereums for $10 million, which brings their total holdings to 15,630 Ethereums, which is a total of $55 million. I mean, it's crazy now. Institutions, companies, they're gaining confidence in Ethereum and they're actually using it as a strategic reserve. I don't really see why, right? But I mean, hey, it's fine. It's all good anyway. It makes me richer, so I'll gladly accept it. Pump Fund now has a revenue dashboard. Their daily revenues and pump purchases can now be tracked in real time using fees.pump.fun. In the past 6 days, they purchased 8,700 Solanas worth of pump, which equates to 102% of total revenue over that time period. So this is a program that they are doing. It's like a buyback on the revenue that they make, they will use that to buy back their tokens. Essentially like a token burning mechanism, I suppose. This is the revenue that they've been having and the purchases in percentages and Solana. I don't know how to read this chart. It's the first time I'm looking at this. But yeah, ideally that's supposed to kind of like stabilize, I guess, the whole supply of pump fund tokens. Moving on to Elon Musk. Tesla just approved a $29 billion stock award for Elon Musk to keep him as CEO. This guy just keeps on getting richer. He's projected to be the world's first trillionaire, by the way, in a couple of years. That could absolutely happen. Also suspicious. Elon Musk apparently donated $5 million to Trump's main super PAC in June while publicly feuding with him. Maybe they're low-key still buddies and that public, feud. We're going to stop giving government subsidies. Oh yeah, well, you're on the Epstein list. Oh yeah? Well, I don't know. What were the insults that they gave each other? You're a drug addict. Stuff like that. Random insults. That it was all happening in June during the Israel-Iran attacks as well. But why would Elon Musk donate $5 million to Trump? I have no idea. Anyways, last bit of news before we end it off here is the United States is planning to announce... No, they're announcing a plan to build a nuclear reactor on the moon. On the moon. Why? I don't know. There you go. Who knows what they're going to do with that. What's it even for anyway? What does a nuclear reactor even do? And on the moon? Like, are we supposed to bring energy from that or something? I have no idea. Or, yeah, we could just nuke the moon, cause a Chernobyl effect up there, and maybe get some radioactive space aliens to roam our moon. That would be pretty cool. What is a moon even useful anyway? Anyway, alright, so stream is over here, unrealized P&L. What was it before? 169, I think. Yeah, I'm losing money. It is what it is. We'll leave that there. We'll come back to it. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be busy, so Wednesday I'll be back. Nothing's really gonna change. I don't expect it to, so take it easy out there. Take some profits on Litecoin if you do have. Yeah. Yeah, the moon is only for the tides. And once in a blue moon, it'll have a red moon. Eclipses. Yeah, but do you really need light during the night? I mean, I guess you do, but... Really? Like, you're supposed to be asleep by then. Who cares about light? I barely pay attention to the moon anyway. Lengths of the day? What do you mean by that? Whatever. Stability of the world. Gravity pulls. What if moon just crashes into Earth? Food for thought. Alright. Yeah, so there we go. Thanks guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe. How many subscribers do I even have? I have not checked in a very, very long time. 426. Nice. I gained like 1 subscriber in the past month. It's going great, the growth. Get me to 1K so I could monetize this channel. Nice. Hey, who's Candace? Alright, anyway. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. Bye.